Civil engineering is everywhere. It's in every road you drive. It's in the clean water you drink. It's where you live, work, and play. It really is all around you. Civil engineers help improve the lives of millions of people every day.
Civil engineering is one of the most ancient types of engineering, focused on structures and buildings of all kinds. And it's the accomplishments of civil engineering that our world is built on, literally. Society wouldn't be the same without them.
This is my office. We're here for DC Water, working on the Clean Rivers project. This project is intended to eliminate sewer overflows into the DC waterways, which ultimately go down to the Chesapeake Bay. So we're cleaning up the rivers. Right now we're working on a deep tunnel. It's called the Blue Plains Tunnel, and this is going to capture stormwater underground and allow that to be treated later after a big rain event. The tunnel boring machine we're using here is an amazing piece of equipment. It's fantastic. It's a 26-foot diameter, and it bores horizontally underground like a drill, and it holds back all of the earth pressures and the hydrostatic forces that are below ground at that depth. It also allows us to install the precast rings. They're made out of concrete precast segments, and that ring forms the pipe that will be there permanently after we're finished digging the tunnel. Civil engineering is it's a fantastic profession. It really deals with engineering all of the world around us. There's infrastructure on the surface, things that people see and use every day, like roadways, bridges, things of that nature. Then there's also a tremendous amount of civil engineering below the surface that no one ever sees, and that's what we're dealing with here. In my view, that's one of the best parts of civil engineering, is working on the underground side, and it's so much fun. I never imagined I'd be able to work on something this cool, but I always had an interest in big projects. I love being a part of it. It's a great mission. Come to work every day excited to do this, and we can't wait to see the end result of all the hard work. My name's James, and I'm a civil engineer.
In this video, I am going to discuss about the roles and responsibilities of structural design engineers in construction. A strong knowledge of physics, creative problem solving, and three-dimensional, conceptual skill must be gained by a structural engineer. Other than these, the roles and the responsibilities of the structural engineer includes: Number 1. Structural designing. Structural engineers are more graduated for structural detailing and their analysis. So, they are more into design of structures. The structural designing procedures carried out by the structural engineers include calculating the loads and the stresses acting on the building, analysis for the loads, design of sections of structures to sustain the loads, so that the structure designed will withstand the loads predicted safely. The structural engineers are also involved in the selection of materials best suited for the structure. The quality factors of different building materials can be analyzed by a structural engineer to finalize their suitability in the design of the beams, columns, or the foundations. Another skill of a structural designer is the analysis of structures. This is presently carried out by the software like ETABS, etc. As years pass, new software are being developed for the analysis of structures at different conditions of loads, like wind, earthquake, etc. Most of the structural engineers have to study and work with these software. With the knowledge of both the technical details and the programming details. In some organizations, the analysis is carried out by a programmer who may not have the civil engineering graduation, but is assisted by a structural engineer. Whatever be the mode of analysis done, the structural engineer must have the ability to understand and interpret the results from the software to know the validity of the values provided as output. Some organization won't completely rely on the computer results. They conduct a separate, man-made calculation for assurance. Number 2. Site investigations. When dealing with the site investigation, the structural engineers are involved in checking the condition of the soil for the construction of the project. Based on the loads calculated by the designer, it must be checked whether the soil is suitable to bear the calculated loads. This investigation will also decide the foundation systems that must be used for the structure. Any kind of treatment required for the soil, too, is decided based on the investigation. This investigation is carried out by testing the soil, which is the part of geotechnical engineer. Number 3. Communication. Even though structural engineers are the ones that bring and develop the design ideas and detail, he can only see it happen on the site only if the structure is constructed as desired. For this, his interpretation and ideas have to be conveyed with the other members of the projects. The structural engineer has to coordinate and consult other members, like the site engineers, other design engineers, geotechnical engineers, landscape architects, project managers, etc. Proper communication helps in spreading correct information among the group, avoiding confusion and errors. Number 4. Construction management. The management responsibility of a structural engineer starts from the collection of sufficient information for the project to the execution of different activities on the construction site. In certain critical situations, they are responsible for material and equipment delivery, for undergoing a special task of the construction project. They conduct frequent checks on site, labor works and activities.
Civil engineers have cool jobs. They're creative and innovative people. They make an impact and change lives, making our world a better place. The bottom line, if you want an amazing career that makes a difference, then do something real. Be a civil engineer. A better place. The bottom line, if you want an amazing career that makes a difference, then do something real. Be a civil engineer.